Photoshop 1 Intermediate. This lesson combines some review from last year, so it's going very quickly. I'm assuming that you know how to make layers. You follow directions in the PowerPoint. I brought the flower in on the flower layer. I made a layer for color and a layer for line. A brief review about line. If you want the line to be sharp and well drawn, turn off the airbrush. Flow and opacity are at 100%. Make sure you're on the right layer. Now it'll work. And when I draw a line, a light touch. Going for realistic. You can make it heavier with more pressure. You're not going to draw every line on the flower. In fact, I left the pistils out of this one. In my interpretation, that didn't work so well. For intermediate students, I also want you to draw the branch and try to shade the branch a little bit. Give it a little bit of texture. What we're going to be working with in intermediate is more dimension, less flat surfaces. But this is sort of a warm-up exercise for you. So I want this in here. Give it a little bit of texture on the underside. It's different than the flower, and its texture should be different. And then, if you're not using the line layer, lock it. Now I want to go to the color layer. In fact, I could make another layer for the branch. That might not be a bad idea. But in this time, I'm going to just see how lucky I can get. I want my branch to be blue. I know, an odd color. But I can make this plant any color I want. Now, for a soft color you're filling in and you want something realistic, go with larger brushes and soft edges. Make sure it's an airbrush. Turn down the flow. That's how quickly the paint, if you want to use that word, would come out. And opacity is how thick it is, how much it covers. I'm just going to give it one stroke after another. The advantage to this is that you can layer colors. If you want it more intense, just hit it a few more times. Remember, it's not a cartoon. Okay. And I'm going to add a little bit down here to catch some of this bud. If I want it darker, just hit it more times, more strokes, just like in a watercolor. You put layer on top of layer, it'll get darker. Now, I also want you to do something of a background. To do that, we should have a new layer, so lock that one. Make a new layer and name it. I'm just going to call it background, real short. And I'm going to hide the others. Actually, maybe I want to see the color. Maybe I want to stay away from this. To see the color's not too opaque, so the background's going to come flashing through if I do that. I'm going to choose a really large brush for this. You can choose a textured brush for this. That might be good. And give it different colors. I'm going to have a lot of green and yellow in my background. The idea with this is pick something that's pretty much out of focus. And some blue highlights or lowlights. This should make more sense when we get the flower back in here. And some reds. Let's be dramatic. I'm going to make the flow opacity even less. And the brush larger. So now I'm going to come back and clear this out for the rose. I don't want it bleeding through like that. I want the flower to stand out. So I'm going to go to my eraser. Nothing real subtle about this eraser. Just clear out the area of the flower. So I'm seeing the flower through the background, erasing the background, and then I'll put the background behind the flower where it belongs. This is going to make the flower seem like it's blocking the background. I'm working hastily. Hopefully you'll take more time for yours. Work my way through here. One last one. Okay, switch to a smaller brush and help the background stand out. Again, this is like a watercolor. You're not covering everything. It's not a cartoon. You're trying to give it some shape. And in future lessons, we're going to work on more of those. Now I'm going to put the color layer on top of the background. And let's show the white. Yeah, the white lets everything really pop. So you've got a really quickly done background, color for the flower, color for the stem. Hopefully you'll take more time and do the best job you can. It's not a photograph, but make it as realistic as you can.